Your next step is to get a bookkeeping system in place. And I did a business video like this years ago, and at that point there was many old style ways to run your check register and actually using carbons and that kind of thing. And things have come a long ways. And pretty much if you're running a checking account these days, or a business account through a bank, you need to have software to do that with. The company that pretty much is the king of the hill, the biggest one out there, is QuickBooks. If you're running a business and you want to be able to have that grow with you, if you have payroll, for example, as well, you pretty much need to have QuickBooks. You can buy that through a number of different ways, but you can buy it at Costco, or you can buy it directly from QuickBooks online. But if you want to have payroll as a piece, that's a separate module that you'll buy. They do have an online version of that where you actually can sign in online and use their in the cloud software. I found the functionality of that is not nearly as good as the actual software version that you would buy from them and download or have on a disk to install on your computer. So be aware of that. QuickBooks is really the best version, still is the PC version for the Windows versus Mac. But do ask around, talk to your CPA, get their recommendations. But the nice thing about using QuickBooks for me is I run all my information on there. I actually buy laser checks and I just put them in my feeder and print all my checks at once for the bills that I cannot pay online. And the nice function about that is that when it comes time to do my taxes or time for my quarterlies, I just upload my database right into my CPA server. They do my taxes for me. They mail me the forms and I send them off. So you can actually have a CPA from across the country doing work for you electronically. It makes it so much easier than having to have someone right there in your own town or someone you have to meet with face to face. So QuickBooks is the ideal. If you're using Quicken, it's fine for your personal account. I don't recommend it for business. It's not designed for business, and people say, oh yeah, it works just fine. Perhaps if you're a sole proprietor, you might want to try it, but the functionality of Quicken versus QuickBooks is substantially different. So please talk to your CPA and ask around before you make that decision. But once you go with a certain style or a certain program specifically, it's difficult to change. It's a lot of work. Even in the online version of Quicken, or QuickBooks, versus the desktop version of that is significantly different. And so once you start with one, switching is quite cumbersome. So be careful. But again, always ask the CPA you're going to be working with what they prefer. And my CPA can set up my accounts for me and make it easy for them to do taxes and save a lot of time in the long run. So that's my recommendation from a bookkeeping standpoint. You need to have something. Now, you can't just write checks and have no idea what categories your expenses are in, and the automation and the time savings of the software will pay for itself very, very easily. So have that set up. The next step in your business building process is to get a handle on taxes, or to understand the taxes. Honestly, there's no way I could address taxes in full on a training such as this, but you do want to talk to your CPA. You do want to check on your state online web sources that are available for you to help you understand better what your responsibilities are. There's a company that's primarily in the service business as well as some retail sales. You want to make sure that you're paying the proper taxes on that. And typically it's very, very simple. The tax form comes from the state of that you're in, and it will say put your dollars of sales in your service, which would be massage therapy, for example, your dollars in sales of retail, and you'll multiply that by two different numbers and have a total, and you'll pay your taxes. I still have a CPA do that for me because they catch things sometimes that I wouldn't have noticed. They go through and they cull through my database in my QuickBooks, and they make sure there's no errors in there, and they also fix things. So, but you'll be paying your state taxes, but you're also going to be paying your IRS taxes from a standpoint of your personal income each year. You'll be paying taxes for your employees, and any monies that you take out of their checks, you'll be paying those to the government as well. You'll be paying both halves for yourself of your self-employment tax, which is Social Security. For your employees, you'll be paying that half, and also giving the government the half that you took out of their checks. You'll be paying other additional taxes, such as workers' comp when someone gets injured in a job. You'll be paying for an unemployment type taxes, or employment security, for example. Your counties are going to be charging you taxes on stuff you have and stuff you own. So if you have a computer or a refrigerator, they'll be asking you, what did you pay for those? When did you buy it? They'll be depreciating the value of that each year. It's not very much, but they will charge you based on stuff you own. I'm not going to get the politics of that, but they just want to charge you on your property. And so obviously you don't own your building that you're in, but you do own the stuff that's in the building, and that's what you'll be responsible for. In addition to your state taxes, the cities also sometimes have an additional operations tax that they want. It's obviously much smaller typically than the state taxes, but they want their share as well. So in our state, in Washington State, we have a B&O tax, or business and operations tax. Part of that money goes to the cities, but in some cities they want even more. So your city will send you a form once you have your business license. They will not forget you, and you'll receive your quarterly, typically forms for you to fill out and write that check in. I appreciate the opportunity to pay quarterly versus once a year, so it doesn't catch you off guard and have a higher amount due. So just double check with that. If they do say you want annual, make sure you save up for that and figure out that what your tax bill is going to be.